Lyrics Born.
What up?
Sir, how are you?
Good, man.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Let me actually take these out. They're doing nothing for me.
Yeah, there's like a split jury on the usefulness of AirPods when it comes to this stuff. We're all figuring it out. I know you've been staying pretty active with doing a lot of live streaming and shows and programming too. So how's that been for you? We're all kind of been thrust into this role that we maybe didn't see ourselves taking in 2020, but like, how has that been for you?
I love it, man. You know, I hate to say it, but I fucking love quarantine. You know, and no, I'm just kidding. I don't love quarantine, but I did manage to find some things that I do like, and if, like you said, it forced me into these other things like, you know, mobile homies and dinner in place, man. So thank you.
Yeah, well, we're definitely going to get into that more, but we're really excited to have you on the show. We have a lot of people who have submitted questions. We have people, a lot of parts of your career that we want to get into. So, this is sort of like a game. It's a game show. It's a trivia game, but it's also, an excuse to explore down various rabbit holes of your career as an artist, as well as your perspective as a fan, because we're all fans of this music,
Can't wait. Let's do it.
Awesome. Let's do it. And if you guys have questions for Lyrics Born, if we have time at the end, you can drop them in the little question box at the bottom of the screen and we will get into it. So I will say before we get into it, some people have a very, anti-using the chat stance. They want to do it all on their own. And others sort of see the chat as their lifeline if, you feel stumped. So we don't judge either way, Lyrics Born. But just know that it is an asset for you to have there.
The chat?
Yeah, like the chat, the people in the chat right now, like,
yes,
chatting at the bottom of the screen. Yes. Okay.
I'm good. Yeah.
All right, here we go. We're going to get into it.
Oh, you mean, should I move this from my face?
I'm not seeing it on your face. I'm not seeing anything.
Okay, good. All right. Okay.
All right, so if you guys are just joining us, by the way, thank you guys for all watching. You could be watching a presidential debate right now or sometime soon. Do you know what time that starts even? I'm not even sure.
I think it's right now.
So
people are either watching Harrison Pence or you and me right now, man.
And if you just heard Lyrics Born say that, you made the right choice, ladies and gentlemen. I pointed out to somebody in our comments today, they're like, I really want to watch. I really would love to be supportive, but the debate comes first. And I was like, you can watch both our show or the debate after the fact. Like they're both going to be on the internet for a bit.
Yes, I do have a question before we begin.
Yes,
and I feel and I do, because I do this as well. But is there a way to take the chat down from here? How do I do that?
I don't think there is. I think what I was saying that if you don't want to use it, just avert your eyes and look up here. I don't know if there is a way to actually dead the chat.
Got you. Okay, got you. No problem.
All right, well, we're going to get into it. And our first round of the night is called The Choice Is Yours. This is general multiple choice. We're going to get into it. Here we go. First question. This MC pitch shift his voice to create an alter ego named Unicron on his 93 sophomore album. Was it Madlib, Del the Funky Homo Sapien, KRS-One, or Masta Ace?
That would be Del.
He says Del. Let's see if he's right, folks.
Who is the two of the Blues Brothers? Yeah, who's that? Me and you,
Del the Funky Homo Sapien. We had to start off with some Bay Area there for you. I mean, that felt right.
Come on, I'm from the Bay. I know these things, man. I know it will get more difficult than this, but that's a good question, though. That is a good question.
Well, because a lot of people, when the No Need for Alarm album came out, I think it was a little unprecedented. I guess I Got a Man was later revealed to be that it was him rapping, the female and the male part. But nobody really knew, that Del was doing that. And I wanted to know, being from the Bay, I imagine that Hyro must have been a huge part of your experience in the 90s. What was that?
It's like I got chills just now when you said that. It's 100% true. I mean, they were like, they were what every underground hip hop rap group, particularly in the Bay Area, but more broadly on the West Coast, aspired to be. You know, they were young, they were just immensely talented, really super advanced, and they all had record deals, which was crazy. You know, that was just unprecedented at that time. You know, absolutely. I'm lucky. I went to high school with some of those guys, and we're friends to this day. And I'm very.
Who'd you go to high school with?
I went to high school with Festo.
Okay.
Yep, and who I actually just had on Mobile Homies not too long ago, man. And we talked about some of the old days and how like in the Hyro heyday, like when Souls was huge. Right? We're talking like 93, 94.
Sure.
When we would go places, when we would just go out to go hang out, like to a club or something, they were so popular. He had to like put on a hoodie and pull the strings all the way.
Wow.
Put on some sunglasses, put on like all these layers of clothing because he would get mobbed by fans, like In Sync or some shit.
And no disrespect to Festo, but I would say that for the average fan, Festo was not even the biggest guy in Hyro. Like he was, so just the fact that he was getting that scrutiny and attention just like proves the point of how huge they were at that moment. That's crazy.
Yeah. And he may not have been the biggest guy in Hyro, but Souls at that moment was the biggest group within Hyro, I would argue.
Totally.
It's relative to who you're a fan of within Hyro, but it was a phenomenon, man. It was crazy. I mean, to grow up with that shit, it was crazy. And to be honest, it was, competitive spirit aside that I think we all had towards them. It was really inspiring to see them do that. I mean, if you, to be 100% honest about it, they really are pioneers, Bay Area or otherwise, The
indie game, I mean, even the stuff after the labels, for them to branch out on their own and to, using the internet as a way to really like push their goods and develop and, galvanize that fan base. It was unheard of. They had a website. Who had a website in like the mid 90s?
Right. And it's funny. I remember having this conversation with Chief XL at that time. Yeah. They were selling Chief XL of Black Alicious. And at that time they had just started selling merchandise, their Hyro merchandise online. And, we were all very competitive with each other as crews. And I remember Chief XL saying to me, man, one thing I will never do is sell merchandise on the internet,
Wow.
And I was like, hell yeah, I'll never do that shit. Fuck that. I mean, that's just how ahead of the game they were, It was amazing, man. They were so smart at that time, so forward thinking at that time.
Totally. So, we're talking about this question. This is about Del altering his voice and kind of having an alter ego or disguise on his second album. This is something that's been getting brought up a lot. We do weekly games on Twitch. We've done live events where we do hip hop game shows. This is a little factoid that I feel like it probably was known for a while, but I think it went a little dormant and now it's like sort of resurfaced. You are not a stranger to necessarily being prominently in disguise either. It's kind of covered here, but you are on the cover of DJ Shadow's Introducing. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's me on the right and Chief XL of Black Alicious on the left.
And now I wish I had cropped this or planned this better because I know that I'm sort of covering it here. Maybe I can switch it out here. But yeah, you're wearing a wig here as well, right?
Yes, I am wearing. I believe that was Shadow's grandmother's wig. And I don't remember why we did it. I think I was just kind of wild back then and I was like, dude, let me just wear that fucking wig,
Yeah.
Because when you're young, wigs are I don't know why, but wigs are fucking. Everybody who doesn't see a wig and doesn't want to put it on. I don't know.
I've got a wig in my closet right now. I mean, I you know, if I'd known we were going to be doing a whole wig segment, I might have busted it out. But
Yeah.
was this explicitly like the photo shoot for the introducing album, or was this just a photo that you guys took and then, oh, you know what, this would be dope for a Shadows album?
No, as I remember it, this was the official photo shoot for his album. It was B+, the legendary B+ shot it, right? B+ shot it. You know, I mean, if look at any West Coast album of any significance in that, East Coast as well, but primarily like West Coast album of any significance in the mid to late 90s, and he shot it, you know, and he obviously went on to do videos and many things, but that shoot, as I remember, was specifically for that album. And it was a whole day, and it was at a record store that was called Records at the K Street Mall in Sacramento.
Wow. Factoids, gems, jewels, folks. We're getting them straight here from the wig source himself. He's flipping our wigs right now with this wig knowledge. All right, we're going to move on to our second question, Lyrics Born. Here we go. Doing good so far. This producer pulled together collaborators from both the independent and major label scenes with his 2008 album. Oh, he knows right away.
Yeah.
You guys have not only worked together a lot, you know, you worked with him primarily on your As You Were album and Everywhere at Once. You guys both share a little album birthday because today is the anniversary of Jake One's White Van Music. And if I'm not mistaken, today is also the anniversary of an album of yours.
Yeah, later that day, 17th year anniversary, 17th birthday for later that day. Came out 17. Crazy, man. Later that day can smoke weed right now if it wanted to, you know.
If it wanted to. And you would probably allow it, right?
Yeah.
It's the father, right?
Yes, but later that day has permission to blow weed around.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he might even have his driver's license. Definitely has the learner's permit. You know.
Yeah, he's driving a white van.
I see what you did there. That was a good, you know, culmination there. You know, when you think back on that album, are you the type that kind of revisits a lot of your albums and cares at all about anniversaries, or is it just sort of like you got it out of your system, it's for the world, and you're not really concerned about like nostalgia?
You know, I listen to my albums a lot when I'm making new ones, because just to remind myself what I've already done and to keep myself from doing it again. Does that make sense? So yeah, and then I guess I do listen to my own stuff recreationally here and there, you know, but I typically find myself listening to my own albums when I'm working on new Lyrics Born albums.
Making sure that you don't repeat a phrase or, you know, maybe a concept or something like that.
Yeah, because you know you know I've got albums 13 and 14 in the can right now, you know what I mean? Jeez. And when you get that deep into your career, it's real easy to sort of unconsciously, unintentionally do something that you may have done before. You know what I'm saying? Hold on for 1 second. Can you hold on for 1 second?
Sure. We'll hold on for 1 second. Is somebody at your door? Is Festo going to come to the door? Because that'd be amazing.
It might be Jake One. Hold on.
All right, cool. You guys, we are live breaking news. Somebody is coming to Lyrics Born's door. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for joining us on this evening. You know, we're doing these once a week now, and it's been pretty cool. Make sure that you guys are, you know, tuned in, following us. We got Twitch going on. Who was it? Was it a package? I mean, I don't want to pry, but, you know, I'm glad you're okay. You know?
Yeah, it was my family. They were locked out.
Shout out to family. Shout out to the family.
Dogs cooking and, you know.
Absolutely. We're going to get into some cooking stuff later as well. We're going to move on to our next question. Here we go. Yeah. Which of these rappers has not sat in the director's chair for a feature film? Is it Adam, MCA Yauk, Boots Riley, Raekwon, or Ice-T?
I believe it is MCA.
So you're saying MCA has not sat in the director's chair for a feature film? That's the answer.
Oh, in the director's chair. Raekwon.
Yeah.
Raekwon.
Raekwon. Okay, I'm glad we clarified because, yes, you are correct. Raekwon has not. Obviously, Adam Yauch was a director. He did a basketball documentary called Gunning for That #1 Spot, I believe was what it was called. Ice-T did The Art of Rap, which was that really, interesting documentary.
Yeah.
And then Boots Riley, Bay Area representative, kind of blew everybody out of the water with Sorry to Bother You a couple of years ago. Huge. I saw it in the theater 3 times. I was all in, and it might have taken me 2 of the times before I caught that you appeared in the film as well.
That's right. Yeah, that's totally true. Yeah, he I knew he was working on it, and I hit him, and I was like, "Hey, man, put me in this fucking movie, please." And he was like, "Okay, lyrics born." He's one of those dudes that calls you by your first and last name all the time.
Yeah.
He's one of those dudes, right? So he calls you by your first and last name. So he's always like, "Okay, lyrics born. We can do this, but I'm not gonna be able to pay you." And I said, "Look, man, it's all good. Just hit me up." So I got in the movie, and I was next to like my trailer and Lakeith's trailer. I came in for the very last day of shooting.
Yeah.
My trailer and Lakeith's trailer were right next to each other. But believe it or not, I'd never even seen Atlanta up until that point. I had not seen Get Out. I didn't even know who Lakeith was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But here we were chopping it up on set for hours. I knew he was the lead in the movie, you know what I mean? Because I was on set. But we would sit there and chop it up for hours. I had no idea who this dude was, you know what I mean? And then afterwards it was like, "Oh shit, it's Lakeith." It was a crazy, everything about that experience was just crazy. And it was crazy. And if you know Boots, it all makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you check Lakeith's resume now, and I mean, he's just incredible. He's not been. I haven't seen him in anything that I don't like. Somebody was asking what your role was. If I'm not mistaken, you were one of the. You were on the game show. The I got the shit kicked out of me.
Yes, I was a game show contestant, and part of the role was that I was drenched in coyote urine. Okay. Which actually it looked like Tang. So I was standing in a kiddie pool, and they were just pouring bags and bags of Tang that looked like jailhouse Pruno, like they're pouring it all over me. And Boots, all I hear Boots in the back with the megaphone, you know what I mean? Like the direct, he's like, "More coyote urine on lyrics born. We need more coyote urine on lyrics born." And on it went, man. He's a funny dude, man. He's a super creative, just out there funny dude, man.
Yeah, I mean, and if anybody needs any proof of that, watch Sorry to Bother You. It's such a wildly imaginative and funny and political, and just like I think it's a very powerful film. I mean, obviously I'm biased. I saw it 3 times, but it's yeah.
There has never been a movie like it. Ever in the history of movie, and I know that might sound like hyperbole, but the shit is true. You've seen it. There has never been a movie like this ever.
Absolutely not. It's wildly imaginative, and it might have. I don't know if that was. You did the Netflix film. You appeared in that after Sorry to Bother You. Was there more? Would you say that there was more or less coyote urine in the Always Be My Maybe experience for you?
Far less. That one had a lot more green tea. That was, Always Be My Maybe. They were very different sets. They were very, very different, obviously very different stories.
Yeah.
I had a larger role, you know, in Always Be My Maybe. But the thing that was so cool is Randall Park, obviously the lead, and one of the writers. He's such a huge hip hop fan. He asked me, and actually him and Allie, they would both ask me a ton of questions about Always Be My Maybe. I mean, about Sorry to Bother You.
Oh, no way.
Being on set. And I think Randall's interest was not only because of the movie itself, but also because he was a Boots Riley fan from the Coup. You know, Randall's a huge hip hop fan. You know, he's a head.
So I worked with Randall. I worked on a television show called Drop the Mic that Newmark was the DJ on, and Method Man hosted. It was a celebrity rap battle show. And Randall Park was on the show. He was battling James Vanderbeek, Dawson from Dawson's Creek. And I was doing shoots with a bunch of people where I was basically, it was like for like digital and social media stuff, where I was sort of trying to get their like rap pedigree, like to see what kind of experience they had. And some people, would be on the show and they were great and fun, but you could tell that it wasn't their wheelhouse at all. I was asking people like, who's your top 5? Or like, how many people in the Wu-Tang Clan can you name? And, you get various answers. I asked Randall Park who his top 5 was, and he said like MF Doom, Black Thought, and instantly, this was before the battle happened. And I just said, oh, you're going to win tonight. Like you are going to win. And he did. It was incredible. He was fantastic.
Well, a lot of people don't know that in college he made albums. They put albums out.
You can YouTube that. You can YouTube it. It is on the internet.
It's real. He was the lead in a rap band. You know what I mean? And a lot of people assumed that I wrote those songs from Always Be My Maybe. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He wrote them all. I wrote my verses, but he made space for me. He wrote them all. He's just, and we did more songs together that people will hear soon that haven't been released.
Ooh, all right. Stay tuned for that. We're going to move on to our next question. Question number 4, final question of this round. This group had a song about a vegan diet titled Be Healthy, which featured vocals from Prodigy on their debut album. Was it Black Star, Earth Gang, Dead Prez, or Infamous Mob?
Oh my God, I don't know the answer to that.
Ooh, okay. All right, let's work this out. What are you leaning towards? I tell people to go with their gut normally on this stuff.
I'm thinking it's Dead Prez.
Okay. And what's your justification on that? Just talk it out.
They're slender dudes.
Final answer then? Are we gonna go with Dead Prez?
Let me think about this.
Okay, Chad. If you guys know, you can weigh in as well, Chad. If you want.
Okay. Here's why. Because I know Black Star did not have a song with Prodigy on their first album.
Sure.
And Infamous Mob, that was the Mobb Deep sort of associated group, right?
Sure.
Who was Earth Gang again?
Earth Gang is a newer group. They're out of Atlanta.
That's
yeah.
My son likes Earth Gang. Okay. I'm gonna go with Dead Prez.
He's going with his gut. We're talking about vegan diet, so it's good that you went with your gut because it is Dead Prez.
Yeah.
To be fair, that Prodigy it's more of like a little interlude at the end where he talks about health in a trademark, very threatening way. Like, only Prodigy could make, like eating healthy sound like menacing, I guess, in a way.
Right.
Anybody who watches you on your Instagram and has sort of kept up with you knows that you are super in your culinary bag lately. And vegan as well. Are you vegan or veganish?
No, not 100%, but we do cook a lot of vegan food. We
Got
do.
it.
Yeah.
What was the highlight meal of last week that you guys made? If you could pick, I know time is a flat circle at this point in the quarantine, but if you can, what was just a recent dope meal, if not last week?
Well, we just put up the vegan struggle meal. It was fucking delicious. So it was like vegan top ramen style ramen. And it's on YouTube and on my Instagram right now. I basically took a vegan brick of ramen, right? Chopped up some vegan hot dogs. I mean, really taking it back. Threw some vegan hot dogs in there. Threw in some off-brand sriracha. I think I had some leftover soy sauce from Panda Express that I threw in. I threw in like the last mushroom on earth. I threw that in.
Shout out to the last mushroom on earth.
Yes, and then I made a vegan struggle slice sandwich, with like vegan American cheese, unwrapped it. But all I had left was 1/2 of a hamburger bun and the very end of a white bread loaf.
So was this a staged meal? Were you trying to show that you can go vegan even at the when you're grasping at straws, or was this just like, oh man, we got to make something and we haven't gone shopping this week?
It was not, no, because I knew I wanted to do a vegan struggle meal. I knew I wanted to do that, and because I can't lie, I love a struggle slice sandwich. It's like the best fucking thing on the planet Earth. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And one day I looked in the refrigerator, and I'm just like, look at all these fucking odds and ends in here. This is shit that, you know what I'm saying? And I looked in the refrigerator and the cover, and I'm like, this is shit that I would have eaten in high school or college, back when I was a single guy. You know what I mean? This is the kind of shit that I would eat. And so from there, I just was like, I had to grab a couple things, like I went out into my my garden, and I had a green onion that was this big, you know what I mean? So I pulled that out. But beyond that, no, it was what was there, which made it so strugglicious.
Well, shout out to all of our comrades in the vegan struggle. We appreciate you. We look out for you. We're going to move on to our second round, and the second round is called Picasso, baby. So in this round, I'm going to show you a cropped or small part of an album cover, and you have to let me know what the album is by the little piece of it that you see. We tested your brain. Now we're testing your eyes here. So we're moving through all the channels here. What album is this? Is it Black Eyed Peas? Oh wait, you already know.
Jurassic 5 Feedback.
He says Jurassic 5 Feedback. That is correct. Jurassic 5 Feedback. I gotta say, I was looking at whenever we have somebody on the show, I like to look into what they've been doing recently, and I came across your Mobile Homies show that you did with Newmark, and you're a hell of an interviewer. You are like, it was extremely thoughtful, and I'm sure that it was aided by the fact that you guys are longtime friends and sort of peers. How has the experience been in doing? We talked about it a little bit earlier, but have you ever considered like doing something like this on a more regular basis, sort of like getting stories from people?
Yeah, I love it. I love doing it, and we started Mobile Homies kind of at the beginning of quarantine because frankly, I was bored, man, like a lot of people. And when the feeling, being stuck at quarantine, you have zero contact. And these were guys that I would always see out on the road, or, men and women that I had worked with in the past, or, that I had some sort of relationship with, working relationship with, and in some cases a friendship, Yeah. And a lot of times, even when somebody from being like a peer, you don't really know that much about them because you see them a lot, but you never get a chance to really build,
Right.
And like Newmark was the perfect example of that, because I know Tuna really well. I know Cut Chemist really well.
Right.
I know Newmark, but I didn't know him that well. You know what I mean? And I was like, this is a perfect opportunity, for me to have a conversation, to get his perspective, because he's kind of the quiet killer in the group,
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's a perfect opportunity for me to get his perspective on a lot of these things, Jurassic 5 related. But it was also the opportunity for me and our fans to get to know him a little bit better,
I loved it. I really thought it was great. I think there's a certain thing about the dynamic of the rise and whatever version of the fall you want to say with a group. And, you know, when I was done watching that episode, I was thinking to myself, there needs to be a J5 movie.
Yeah.
Like it was so cool just to hear. I urge everybody, if you're at all into what we do at the questions, I mean, you should be following Lyrics Born anyway, but definitely check out that episode. I haven't watched the Festo episode as well, but, you know, I'm really intrigued to see more of it because I really was struck by what a natural interviewer you are.
Thank you, man. Yeah, we do it every week. We alternate between sort of short form Zoom edited interviews and then long form Instagram live interviews, and we alternate every week between the two.
Awesome. Yeah. Definitely check that out. Okay, next question. What album is this? Is it LL Cool J's Bigger and Deffer?
That's exactly what it is.
Wow. All right, guys, he's not wasting any time.
I'm just a girl with big juicy lips.
It is Bigger and Deffer. How big of an influence was, obviously we talked about Hyro. We know about like sort of your background and everything that was happening in the Bay. How tuned into the East Coast were you, you know, coming up? Huge.
You had to be. I mean, at that time, you know, when I first started listening to hip hop, like in the mid 80s, I guess, when I first came to California, that was the only region of the country at the time, that was the only region of the country hip hop records were coming from. You know, I mean, we're talking like,
right,
you know, Roxanne era, Curtis Blow, the Fat Boys era, you know, UTFO era, all the relevant, influential, mostly 12 inches at that time, not a lot of albums.
Right.
They were all coming out of the East Coast, you know. And one thing I think that you will find is that, particularly among Bay Area artists that came up in the 90s and 2000s, like at the same time that I did, if they were like backpacker style Bay Area artists, we were heavily influenced all throughout by New York rappers.
Right, because I guess the alternative would have been what was sort of percolating on the West Coast, and that kind of leaned a little bit more gangster sometimes, you know. So like, I mean, not that there wasn't gangster rap on the East Coast as well, but you know, it's easy to see that thread line between being really influenced by New York, you know, rap and people who might have gone for more of an underground sound on the West Coast.
Right. I mean, for a great example is that we were talking about Hyro, right? I mean,
right.
Their beats were undoubtedly more East Coast sounding than
Dusty.
West.
Yeah, dusty, jazzy, you know.
Based, you know, jazz sample based, breakbeat based, you know what I mean? But our experience in the Bay Area is so unique because maybe that's what we were into. Maybe that was our main influence as artists. But for our listening pleasure and all around us was what we used to call, and what we still call, mob music. You know what I mean? So like Too Short, E40, you know, Sick With It, you know, Mac Dre, San Quinn, you know, that's the beauty of the Bay Area is the diversity, you know what I mean? But if you're talking about who influenced Bay Area backpack rap, it was I would venture to say that it was mostly East Coast hip hop.
What do you think what is your favorite LL album?
Probably Bigger and Deffer.
All right, well.
Yeah.
Glad we picked this one then. All right, we're going to move on to our final question in this round. What album is this?
Freestyle Fellowship.
Guys, he's on a tear right now. Now, you want to talk about West Coast, dusty, sample, jazzy. I mean, these guys, you know, I grew up on the East Coast. So you know, Freestyle Fellowship was not on my radar until way later. Certainly not at the time. that these records were coming out. But were they? I assume that they were on your radar way earlier than that.
You know, they were on my radar, and I had heard of The Good Life, but obviously we grew up in the Bay Area, so Freestyle Fellowship, The Good Life, obviously that was an LA based phenomenon.
Yeah.
You know, so we had heard about it. I'll be completely honest. When I first heard their very first album, To Whom, what was it called? The one on Sun Music.
I think it was To Whom It May Concern, or
Jeff Chang played me that album. He used to play it all the time on KDVS when we were in college. I didn't understand it. I didn't get it at first. I didn't get it. You know who unlocked that album for me, and who got me to understand that album, and who got me to understand Freestyle Fellowship and that whole movement? And I'll tell you where it led me after I'll tell you this, but Gift of Gab really unlocked that album for me. Gab was like, you know how you have some people in your life that show you new music and they're really important to you, and not only do they introduce you to new music, but they show you how to listen to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He did that for me with Freestyle Fellowship. He was like, listen to what they're doing. You know what I mean? He was like, this is every genre of music combined into rap. You know, he was like, really pay attention. And he sort of, he got in there, you know, with a microscope and some forceps for me so that I could understand it. And by the time he had sort of explained it to me and broke it down for me, I was sold. And then by the time this album came out, this was probably one of the most important albums in my personal development in the 90s. Because this album showed me where hip hop can go, where you can actually take it. Now, it didn't matter if all the songs worked. It didn't matter if they sounded Dr. Dre pristine quality. That wasn't the point, you know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just showed me a world of possibility. And to this day, you know, obviously Jupiter's amazing, you know, and AC is an incredible, AC is amazing as well.
They're legends.
Is a wild man. You know, Micah 9 is probably top 10 MCs of all time for me.
I respect it, and I certainly can see the connection there. They were just doing things with their voices that really hadn't been done, and you only are starting to see some of that on a wider scale, like amongst you know a broader audience. Really, like 20 years after the fact, like they really were on some shit.
100%. I think it's and talking to people like Cut, Abstract Rude, Charlie Tuna, Pigeon John, when they talk about The Good Life and seeing Freestyle Fellowship at The Good Life, their faces change. You know what I mean?
Transformative. It was a transformative experience.
When they talk about that experience, you see them in their face. They're transported somewhere when they're talking. It's pretty unique. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I can't even imagine what it must have been like to have been there at the, you know, the formative years of that whole collective. You know, it's really cool. All right, we're gonna move on to our third round, and the third round is called Digging in the Crates. So we've tested your brain, we've tested your eyes, now we're testing your ears. This is our sample round. All the questions are going to be regarding samples or pieces of music. So I'm going to ask you a question, play you a sample, and then you will answer. So far, flawless score, Lyrics Born. You're doing quite well so far, but we got to turn the heat up, though, so we'll see what happens. Drag rap by this group is one of the foundations of New Orleans bounce music. I will play you the song Drag Rap, and you have to tell me who it is by. Say it again, you broke up.
I thought that was Trigger Man.
It is known as Trigger Man. That is like in the parenthetical of the song. The song was called Drag Rap, also known as Trigger Man.
Okay.
But what was the group?
Hot Boys.
Hot Boys. Final answer.
I think so.
All right, he's going for it. Let's see, guys. It was the Showboys. All right, listen. It's fine. I'm not going to dwell on it if you don't dwell on it. Even, I didn't want to jinx you there, but I did want to bring this up because New Orleans sort of became a second home for you in terms of some of your musical sounds. Tell us a little bit about the New Orleans connection to Lyrics Born.
So my first connection with Lyrics Born, Jesus. First connection with New Orleans was as a record collector, in the early 90s. I loved the Meters, obviously. I loved Eddie Bo, the Nevilles, Wild Magnolias. I was just very, just all the classic break beats and all the classic sampled stuff that came out of New Orleans. And so I would make these pilgrimages to New Orleans in the early 90s, buying records from places like Record Runs, Skippy White, like all these incredible record stores in the French Quarter and elsewhere. Jim Russell records. A lot of them are just not there anymore,
And were you specifically flying out there just to dig? Like,
I would meet some friends out there and we would dig. I was also working with a Japanese company at the time, and we would go out there also and buy records for a place, Manhattan Records. We went on record buying trips. I went with the Quantum guys. We went to New Orleans on multiple record buying trips. Me, Shadow, and Chief XL.
Wow.
And that was my initial contact and my initiation into New Orleans and New Orleans culture. And the only thing I can tell you, man, and especially coming from Berkeley, California, which is especially at that time was a really weird fucking place, I felt a kinship to New Orleans in that same way, because there's no other place like it. It's just so unique culturally, and it's shit that would never make sense anywhere else for some reason does there. And for whatever reason that jive with my sensibilities, and it just gets in your blood, man. I can't describe it any other way. Fast forward 20 years, I recorded 3 albums in New Orleans, produced by Rob Mercurio of Galactic, and also at times Ben Elman of Galactic. Both, Grammy nominated producers, very rooted in New Orleans music, and it's just I love it to death. It's the one city in the world that if I don't get back there every so often, I start to lose it, man.
Yeah. You start to feel the withdrawal the withdrawal of the New Orleans drawl, one might say. All right, we're gonna move on to our second question. The Bassline in Kendrick Lamar's King Kunta is an interpolation of a part from a 2000s hip hop song that was produced by this producer. So I'll play you the Kendrick song, and you tell me the answer.
I got a bone to pick. I don't want you looking out, motherfucker, sitting in my throne again.
So who produced the song that this bass line interpolates?
I don't know the answer to that. I love that bass line. It's funky as shit ever, and I don't know that bass line, but
it's funky as shit. All right, so let's again. I'll ask you, go with your gut, and we'll see what the chat has to say as well, and we'll walk through this.
I know it's not Dr. Dre.
Okay.
I wouldn't put money on Eric Sermon.
Okay.
I love Battle Cat. Battle Cat is one of my favorite producers, I fucking love Battle Cat.
He's amazing.
So if this was Battle Cat and I didn't know it, I'm going to go with DJ Quick.
Go DJ Quick. Let's hear the answer. I'm going to play you the song. DJ Quick is correct. It was the Mossberg.
Yeah.
Butt naked. Get naked.
Mossberg. That's right. Mossberg. Right. Yeah.
I feel like we dodged a bullet there. That was good. That was close. But yeah, obviously, we had to throw a funk question in there for you because your music is funk music. You're steeped in that.
Yeah. I love that bass line. We used to play that song live. We used to. I think in one of my songs, "Don't Change," when we would do it live, we would throw King Kunta in there. We would throw
it's a monster of a beat, and it is just so funky.
Crazy. And I love funk, man. There's nothing like, I mean, it's like my wife will tell you I drive her crazy. It's what I play in the house all the fucking time. I love funk.
I can think of worse genres to constantly play in the house. So, but I guess everything in moderation.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move into the final question of this round. Which group was the first to sample Lowell Fulsom's Tramp?
Oh,
I'll play you the sample, and so the folks at home know what we're talking about. Here's the sample in question. Who sampled it first?
Tramp.
We got De La, Cypress Hill, EPMD, and Just Ice on the board.
okay. So De La Soul was Let Me In. I know that.
Okay.
Cypress Hill was How Can I Just Kill a Man? EPMD was the one with LL. I don't remember the title is escaping me right now. Just Ice was before all of them, but I don't remember Just Ice using Tramp.
I don't intrigued.
De La Soul was before Cypress Hill. I think EPMD was before Cypress Hill there too. But I don't remember Just Ice using Tramp. I'm going to go with De La Soul.
Okay. We're going to get into it. We're going to do a little bit of a reveal here. So, and I'm pulling up my sources here. 1991, actually, well, I'll do this a more dramatic way. I'm going to break order a little bit. 1991, we had Cypress. The same year, we also had De La Soul.
Yeah.
We then had This Is Just Ice, 93. EPMD is the correct answer.
Slow down, baby. Yeah. Slow down, baby. Yeah.
LL.
With LL, exactly. And you're a huge fan of EPMD, right?
Oh God, I love EPMD. I love EPMD, but I feel like for some reason I felt like Rampage came out in the 90s as well.
It was 90. It was 1990, and so it was by a year. This is what we call a Steve Wonder stumper. Shout out to DJ Steve Wonder. He'll mine the sample of questions here. And we're not trying to make anybody look bad, but you've been stumped by Steve Wonder is what we'll say here.
So they came out within a year of each other.
Within a year, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Which is cool, and is sort of like you see that a lot where like people were sort of drawing from the same sample pools,
Yeah.
All right, we have 10 minutes left, and we still have a final round to do. So I feel like we're gonna have to do a bonus one day where we just talk about records and shit. The final round is called Time's Up. Basically, this is what we do. You're going to have 90 seconds to answer 5 questions, non-multiple choice, in the category of your choice. I'm going to present you with tonight's categories. One is called 3 the Hard Way, hip-hop trios. The second category is hieroglyphics. And the third is called When Actors Start Rapping. So you pick your category, and you'll have 90 seconds to answer 5 questions in this round.
Let's make it fun. How about When Actors Start Rapping?
Okay, he's going with the fun, and we always appreciate that. So, we'll go with Actors Start Rapping. let me just go over the rules for you real quick. You'll have 90 seconds. These are not multiple choice. If you don't know the answer, you can say pass, and we can go back to it. But if you answer it wrong, the answer is burnt. So, be wise with your answers here.
You know what? Let me do this then. Let's do 3 the hard way. Can we do 3?
We can change it. We can change it totally. I'm pulling it up now. I have OC's times up here, and it is time to 90 seconds. So when the time is up on OC, your time is up, Lyrics Born. Are you ready to do this?
Hit me.
Oh, man. We're having a great time. We got Lyrics Born final round. He's going with 3 the hard way, hip-hop trios. 90 seconds on the clock. Here we go. First question. In 1987, Salt and Peppa added this DJ to their lineup.
Cinderella.
Spinderella is correct. Name one of the guests who appears on Diggable Planet's second album, Blowout Comb.
Oh, Jesus. I don't know.
Okay, we'll pass. This member of the Diggin' in the Crates crew appears on the Fugees' smash album, The Score.
Diamond.
That is correct. Fourth question. This rapper briefly worked as the DJ for Do It All from Lords of the Underground in 1990.
Chunky A.
That is incorrect. It was Redman. And finally, this trio features 2 DJs hailing from Canada and a frontman from Queens.
Main Source.
Main Source is correct. We're going to go back to that Diggable. They're a trio, and on their second album, they had a few guests. Who was one of the guests on Blowout Comb? Chat, if you know, you help them out.
Was it Wise Intelligent?
Wise Intelligent is incorrect. Okay, so we have our time here. The answer was we would have accepted Guru, J-Rue the Damager, or DJ Jazzy Joyce. Lyrics Born, you did amazing. I'm going to total up your score, but I want you to know that no matter what, you are a champion in our eyes. I usually do a whole choreographed dance, but not today. We have one more question that we like to ask, and while I total up your score, I want to ask you, now that you've done the show, we always like to ask our guests, who would you nominate to come on the show next? Who's somebody that you know or that our audience might be really interested in seeing, who you think would have fun on this show? And this is sort of your moment to talk into the camera and nominate/challenge them, if you will.
I would say Gift of Gab. Gift of Gab. No more. Yeah. There was no bigger rap fan than the Gift of Gab.
Wow. All right. I mean, yeah, we would love to have him. Gift of Gab, you have been put on notice. We'll be hollering at you, talking to your agent. So you got 11 out of 15 right. Now, let me tell you who is joining you in the 11 club. And by the way, guys, if you have questions for Lyrics Born, we have like 5 minutes left. Drop them in that little question box. But Lyrics Born is sitting in the 11 club with the following people. We have DJ Mighty My, DJ Mr. C. These are all former guests who have gotten the score that you got. Chub Rock, Russell Peters, J Live, Psalm 1, recognized from Mayday, Mega Ran, Homeboy Sandman, Kim Osorio from The Source, Diallo Riddle. What I'm trying to say to you is that you're sitting pretty nice in the 11 club right now. You're rubbing shoulders with some greats.
Thank you. You're trying to make me feel better about basically getting a C-. Thank you very much.
Well, yes, and you know what? That's fine. That's part of the burden that I have to carry in this. We all are playing a role here. So, well, let's see. We have a couple questions. Let's see what we have, Lyrics Born. If you have a moment. Okay, DJ Largechild asks, can you talk about why you changed your MC name from Asia Born to Lyrics Born in the 90s?
Yes, because I was not 2 reasons. Number one, the first reason was at that time, you got to understand, I was the only Asian MC at the time. And what I did not like is I would open up magazines and they would say, oh, he's pretty great. He's pretty cool for an Asian guy. Oh, I did not like that at all.
Yeah. I wonder why.
Yeah. Number 2, Asian Americans, not monolithic. Our experience, extremely diverse, extremely rich, extremely important. And I just did not feel comfortable making that assumption for people that we all are the same and that we have the same experience.
Who could argue with that? For a very similar reason, I stopped going by white guy Sean, and I just started going by Sean. You know, it was like part of a. No, I'm just joking. Bad joke. All right. Let's see. Do we have any more questions? Steve Wonder asks. This is a tongue in cheek. Why does hip hop suck in 1996?
I actually thought hip hop 96 was a great year for hip hop. Thought 96 was amazing. 97 was even better. You know.
I mean, Shadow might disagree, or maybe he was just trying to, be provocative with his titles. It's a title that has still endured over the years, for sure. And you know what? I would go so far as to say, and I'm curious to know what you think. I think hip hop is still great. I think that there's still amazing things going on in the genre and the culture.
Somebody disagrees.
I'm sorry that is incorrect. Listen, Tom, if you want to end the show, you can just tell me. We don't have to, do a whole smoke alarm.
No, it's all good. I'm not sure what's happening in my house. It's chaos right now. But okay, sorry.
Okay.
What the question is?
I mean, it's a trope, but I guess, do you feel that hip hop is so great? Are you still inspired by the things that you're hearing people do?
I totally am. And it really bums me out when I hear, particularly guys, men and women my generation, who make that contention that hip hop is garbage or hip hop is trash now. It really bums me out when I hear that. You're more than entitled to your opinion. You're more than entitled to, adhere to the lessons and the tenets that, your era gave you. I completely understand that. But there are still breakthroughs being made. There is still innovation. It is still important. I don't know. I still get inspired by young guys, to be honest.
That's amazing. And I mean, quite frankly, to adhere strictly only to the formative music is sort of the definition of conservatism. You're just, no, it was good then and it won't be good later,
100%. And I mean, it's the same thing that I used to hear guys that grew up on Melly Mel and the Sugar Hill Gang and older New York groups used to say about us.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? And now we know that that's garbage. Now we know that that's trash. I remember hearing older guys saying that special ed was garbage because he was too offbeat. You know what I mean? Crazy. Things that are laughable now, but that I hear sometimes my generation saying about the younger guys. And number one, I don't agree with that. Number two, I think it's unhealthy.
Totally. Well, Lyrics Born, I want to thank you so much for your time. We had a great time. We'd love to have you back on the show sometime. Do you have anything you want to plug? Anything that I know you're popping on Instagram, on YouTube, anything else that we can look out for you?
Yeah, just follow me on Instagram, man. We're doing Dinner in Place every week, cooking every week. We've got Mobile Homies, my interview series every week, and I've got 2 new albums in the can, so make sure you keep an eye out.
Incredible. Well, be safe. We thank you again so much. Peace and love to your family and you, and thank you. We appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
Peace.